This video is about the fact that there are two birth certificates. One for the baby called the Certificate of Live Birth, and one for the person or franchise called just birth certificate. And this is the heart of the matter. This is where one of the major sort of deceptions occurs. The fact that this one is created at the hospital and not given to mom and dad should be a huge red flag. I mean, even today they call it a worksheet to downplay its importance. But there is something called a certificate of live birth. It is completed at the hospital, and really they don't give it out. Instead, they tell people to request a birth certificate, even though one was created right there at the hospital. Even though it's created right at the hospital, they don't give it out, and instead they tell the mom and dad to request request a birth certificate. When they request it, they are birthing a person, a franchise, and it's a corporate entity. That's why police ask for your identity, or a lot of things ask for your identity, because it's sort of ID entity. Entity is a corporate term. So it creates an entity. I mean, I don't know, maybe you could call it human entity, but it's really not done. Entity is finance, accounting. So the reason they do this is they want you to conduct your life as an entity, as one of their entities, as one of their franchises. Even in California, there's something called the California Franchise Board, where everyone sends their taxes. So it's all about the thing on the right. If you conduct your life with the one on the right, you have to follow codes and statutes that relate to persons. And when they say person, they're usually meaning artificial person, because really you could have a natural person, but they've just ruined the word like so many other words. But over here on the left, this is the gold mine. This is where you want to be. This is the Declaration of Independence stuff. This is unalienable rights, the right to travel, right to trade and work, and the right to own land and build on that land. And that's why they don't want you to use this, because over here you have unalienable rights and you're above the government. Over here on the right, you're below the government, because you've asked them to create an entity, and whatever somebody creates, they control. And so they're controlling that entity, and unbeknownst to you, you're conducting your life through this. So you want to get your hands on the one called the Certificate of Live Birth. And what does that look like? I mean, this post is about something else that goes on at the hospital, but if you just ignore to the extent possible these call outs. But this is mine, right, from the hospital that day, that it took a bit to get, because they didn't give it out to my mom and dad, which is a little odd, right? Because it's like, hey, it says right here, you can see Certificate of Live Birth, but they don't give it out. But this shows that, I was born on one of the 50 states, and not in, on, and I have unalienable rights. Consequently, I'm very thankful for that. I'm thankful for the Declaration of Independence to point out that, I don't have a king. So I'm not above the law. I mean, there is common law. I can't go and hurt people. I can't break contracts. But I don't have a king. All right, let's get that straight. Anyway, how do you get your hands on this? So this is another post I have, which is like the way I did it was go to Vital Check. It varies, and I've really wasted some money here, because I often will get the regular birth certificate, not the regular one, the corporate one, and then I'll get like a long version of it, which makes some people think they've got the Certificate of Live Birth, but really, if it doesn't say Certificate of Live Birth, you don't have it yet. And so even here on Vital Check, they will sort of say, do you want the correct type? Really, it's not even type. It's like, no, I want the correct one. I want the one for the baby. It's not a type. And but generally, it's like you're looking for the long form one. And, if you just sort of keep track when you're doing Vital Check about what options you selected, because there's sort of different options on different pages. And over here, I guess I point out that at least for me, I didn't want this county or state, but the state one is where I got the Certificate of Live Birth. And I actually called Vital Check one day, and they said, yeah, we only give out the Certificate of Live Birth, I think they said. Of course, maybe you could request the short form one, and they'll give it to you if you ask for it. But if you choose county, I think that's like, they're completely corrupt, I guess. They will only give you the entity one, the franchise one. So in my case, you could see here I said choose state, not county. So just bear those things in mind. Just keep track of what, really write down, okay, what options you chose, so that if you get the wrong one, you can go back and do it again. And as I said, I want to point out, like they have a long form version of the corporate one. You want There's only one version of the baby one, and it happens to be long, because there's a lot to put down there, color eyes, the weight, who was there, etc. A lot going on at the hospital. So generally, I mean, it's called long form, but it's really like there's just one form, it's certificate of live birth. But here, you got to go with the vernacular. You want to get the one on the left. And like, so what does that mean? Like, it is possible to conduct one's life with the one on the left. It's hard, it's harder, but it's worth it, right? So you just have to avoid their traps, So it's like, I'm not a person, I don't have an entity, I don't have an ID entity. There's just corporate terms all over the place, and once you start to see them, you'll see more of them. It's hard to wrap your head around, like, sort of living one's life as a human, as a man or woman rather than a corporate entity. But it's worth it. You can do it. One can do it. I don't want to use the word you, but well, that's for another video. This is my proof of who I am. I mean, I am a state native. I am a state national. That's it. And, in the Federal Style Guide, they talk about the natives of the states and how to refer to them. Well, that's this. And if I were to needed to prove that I am a state national and with unalienable rights as specified in the Declaration of Independence, this would be part of my evidence that I was born on the land of one of the 50 states. So get your hands on this one.